Weekend preview in Terre Haute, Indiana for head coach Jen Sewell and the Saluki softball program back on the road for the Saluki softball program and another big Missouri Valley Conference series. They're all big. We can say that each and every weekend as we get ready for the weekend. Coach Sewell, appreciate the time. And look, we'll recap the Belmont series first. And
Yeah.
we knew going into it was going to be a big time series. It always is
Yeah.
each and every year. And the respect level in terms of what both programs have done, I know is extremely high.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's what it was. It
Yeah.
was an entertaining series and a series that could have gone either way.
Yeah, I think it was a good preview of hopefully the tournament and, a matchup or rematch of last year's
Yeah.
championship. So, for us, unfortunately, on Sunday, it came down to really like getting those last three outs, and they put a big one over the wall and into the wind, which is wild. It was a great swing on a ant pitch, but it's one of those things where I liked how we played. I thought we got better as the bats went. We still remain, I think we had the second most hits off of Johnson this year. So, it's one of those things where it gave us some confidence, I think, going into the tournament. But, you know, they're good, we're good, and it's probably going to come down to the end.
Look, Maya Johnson's a veteran. Brooklyn Danielson is not.
Yes.
And what Brooklyn did, and that's what they one, you feel for your team that you can't
Yeah.
get a win in the final one and win the series, but
Yeah.
Brooklyn pitched just a
Yeah.
remarkable game. Can you really put into that she had a lot of expectation
Yep.
coming in the year, but how she's grown throughout the year and really what she's done to put herself on that stage. And if you just watch the game, you're not going that, man, that's a freshman
Freshman,
pitching
right?
for you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of outsiders saw that in the fall. Like, man, I keep reminding people, our normally first and second game starters are freshmen, and what Danielson did, I mean, I think she missed on two pitches. That's
Wow.
it. And I think Maya Johnson probably had two pitches she wanted back. But the difference is there's a veteran and a freshman. But I think the cool part about Danielson is unbelievably physically bought in, incredible student. You get the character off the field, and then you get the maturity that comes with all of that on the field once she puts the uniform on. Pitch for an incredible club team that got her ready to be ready in her freshman year. And she has very high expectations, and I think she's learning to balance those with a new, stepping up into this situation, but came in well prepared and has just gotten off to a great start. Had a little bit of a blip of an injury earlier in the year, but it was minor, and she worked back, and I think she's throwing harder, which is crazy. And command is been increasing, so she can put a pitch on a dime. So
Don't want to over make anything, but man, when someone has the type of performance, you always get locked on that end result.
yeah,
And as you said, there's always just the one or two pitches
yeah,
that you want back that probably eat at you most.
yep.
Is there much you have to say to Brooklyn after a game like that in terms of a pick me up, or is it pretty like clear? Like, hey, she knows, like it's going to be
I
okay.
think she told Lauren she went right back and watched that game. And the next day she had some feedback on it. And that is not a freshman move. A
Yeah,
lot of people would run from their mistakes. They don't want to, they lived it, so they don't want to see it in
yeah.
person. So I was super impressed that she went back and she brought that right back to Lauren and said they were sort of able to work through a couple things. But my message was, BD, you only missed on, there's veterans that may throw 8, 10 pitches they want back in a game. It's just sometimes we don't get away with them. And
Yeah.
we didn't on Sunday. We didn't against the third game at Illinois State. But I'm telling you, if that we're already learning those lessons, we're way ahead of schedule.
You see great talent all throughout the year, and you do that, and that's the biggest reason why you go through a
Yeah.
non-conference schedule. But as we talked about going into last week, Maya Johnson, no doubt, is a heck of a pitcher,
Yep.
and no doubt a different arm look.
Yep.
How can it help your team when you do see an arm like that in terms of now just advancing throughout the year?
Yeah. I think I'm sure our players had that weekend pinned on their schedule pretty good, but it allows us to continue to see postseason like arms. That oftentimes the Valley may have one, but you won't see them as much as a
Yeah.
Maya. Like they can't go one and three. And I think it just reminds us. You could tell we stepped up our game in that series, and that's what I told our team. Like, are we younger than them? Technically, yes, but can we max out sort of in that standard that we have? We can take it as an opportunity to really step up, and I could tell the energy was good. I liked our execution. We probably should have scored one more run, would have benefited us, obviously,
Yeah.
going in with the last 3 outs. But I'm telling you, I think we're fit enough to figure out anybody. I do, and I appreciate that out of our squad.
It's been a topic that we've shared throughout the years when we've been doing these, Coach Sewell. But as we said, it's hard in practice at Charlotte West, wherever you're at. You can do in-game situations. Hey, you're in this moment. You need a final out. Whatever the case may be,
Yep.
it's different when you're actually going through the moment.
Yeah.
To this point, and there's still a lot of softball left. Do you like the in-game scenarios that your team has seen, and are those in-game scenarios leading to ultimately what you're trying to build, which is a team that can go and win the tournament?
Yeah, and this is the interesting part of the year. I think we talked about this. You can't over practice, you can't overtrain.
Yeah.
Reps aren't more is not necessarily better for a squad. We're going to do a little bit of a run here, be on the road. So the things that we are doing in practice are very specific, and then you hope that they're showing up in the game. And I think that's mainly been defensively for us, playing together in a better chemistry on D, making some extra effort, executing the play, that one play away that maybe we needed. I like that out of us this weekend. I think our offense is always going to be there, just because of the sheer hitters that we can put to the plate. But we needed to shore it up, definitely late game scenarios and defensively just throughout the game, and maybe not have to come down to that one play away.
Talked about Brooklyn's remarkable play there in the circle.
Yep.
Man, Malia, with
Yep.
her bat has been scorching
Yeah.
hot through the league. Again, kind of take us through of what you saw from her in preparation for this season, and then just what she's done so well to allow her to produce the type of numbers that she's doing. Because man, she's going at a historical pace right now.
Well, and the cool part about her, obviously was injured last year, took her med shirt year, and was out this fall recovering still. So for her to be back at the level that she is back, I think is pretty impressive. And she had never seen Maya Johnson. She was hurt before we went to the Belmont, and then was really, I was thinking day one, like, I'm going to get these lefties down, get them some looks, get the righties to the plate against her, try to go arm for arm. And then here comes Malia out of the middle of the lineup. So I thought, well, right back up to the top of the lineup, you go. So I just was, man, and I like her. Malia has 2 gears, 0 and 100. And when she dials it, sometimes she can almost overwork. She's so energized, but it's the exact person you want to see go to the plate.
It's one of those things, as you said, right? Trying to get healthy. Sage Grand really battled through a ton last year, but there was, into the offseason, I don't think there was any question. She was one of those ladies that you certainly go, I can't wait to see the type of growth that she can have.
Yeah.
What type of growth has she had this year?
Well, I mean, besides just physical, that kid is, first of all, like her no even heart rate.
Yeah.
Heart never goes up or down. But also, started out as a spindly little slapper, believe it or not. Like she's grown, she's physically matured, she's put time into the weight room with Mead. And now you see her in the middle of the lineup, and you know me, I love a good power lefty. Like I'd stack the whole lineup except for the one lefty pitcher we see every year. But yeah, it's just, she's been a welcome addition to the middle. We hit her down in the lineup last year to let her sort of get D1 at bats. And then obviously we had starter, like you said, to fit in that mix with Malia and Emily, Sid Potter. Another one who's taken off is Hayden Kurtz. She's really filled in the middle with Aaron and those guys. So I really couldn't be happier offensively. But I think our real stretch run here is trying to get our pitchers experience and get our defense solidified. So
looking at your schedule for this next week, I mean, it's a loaded one now. It's going to be hard for me to find time to talk to you next week. But and I'm not trying to phrase this in any other weird way. It's just, look, it's really important for you to get games in.
Yeah, it's time to play ball.
It's play the games. They matter. But now that your schedule sets up the way it is, which, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll have the doubleheader on Sunday, you'll have a game on Monday, doubleheader Tuesday, and then you'll go and travel out to Drake to play on the weekend. How do you manage that? And like you said, I'm playing ball, so that's the most important thing that's on your mind.
And I think this is kind of how I like this setup. March, we didn't do a lot of midweeks. And then April, you will start to pick up the midweek through the valley, and then we have some non-con schedule. But at this point in the year, you can't practice it into the game, right? It's really getting tough because you just don't want to stand on your feet. And I want I want to play, and I can tell they want to play. So I like it. We have plenty of pitching, we have plenty of offense, we have plenty of folks that can roll. So I'm ready. Home away, it doesn't matter to us. I think the players are really going to enjoy just consistency
Yeah.
in putting the uniform on.
Let's talk about Indiana State this weekend. Wendy in her second season there. Where has her program grown from last year where you saw in kind of year one to now in year two?
A lot of maturity on the mound. I knew she would bring much more consistency to them. I think they'll very much focus on doing the little things right. Like they play defense well. They're not going to be an overly, swing it over the fence type. They do have some players that can do that, but they're going to hit the ball. They're going to be consistent on contact. Again, our job with a young team or a relatively new team
Yeah.
is to show up to Terre Haute and get comfortable, very quickly. So, yeah, I think it's, again, they always give us fits. They are very consistent. They don't make a lot of mistakes. And you can tell they're sort of climbing the standings. So
Do you have any like silent counts when the trains go by in the distance there in Terre Haute that you have to like?
that's what the windows are for.
Yes.
My one-way communication device that by the time I'm at the game, I've got two laptops, a handheld. I got to put my phone away so I don't confuse it with something else. Yeah, that's definitely where the electronic piece comes in.
Well, make sure that you time it where Sid
Right.
Potter can be at the plate because I think Sid needs to try to hit a train.
Hit a train.
So that would
We always
be
have the expressway in left field,
Yes.
overpass, and then the train. But much like us, we've got one too. So it's like every
Yeah.
good college town has. That's what I tell people. Every good college town has a train.
Yes, and especially right near the softball field. So that's where they typically get placed. Look, as we end on this note, it's like you said, no doubt, the goal is ultimately every year to win a regular season championship and then go win another trophy in
Yep.
the tournament. That's still within your reach.
Very much on the table.
As much as disappointing as this past weekend was,
Right.
can you just for the fans and just to give them a little insight in the program, like clearly what you guys have done day to day works.
Yep.
So what is the message and how much is that message really not, hey, like we're chasing this. It's really the daily process
Yep.
that will ultimately take care of what your goals are.
Yeah, and I think we had Illinois State and Belmont back to back gave us a good
Yeah.
opportunity with a young program to say, like, this is where we cannot continue to play for the outcome, right? You have to play to the standard, right? There's just certain things we do here. One is defense. One is pitches and hitting our spots, right? One is throwing people out. One is keeping people off second base. If we just stop worrying about the at-bat outcome or the perfect pitch, we tend to get on to the standard a lot quicker. And I felt that in game 3 of Belmont, like we upped our game a little bit and then we had the shot to win it. I was thankful that the players got to feel that, especially against a team like Belmont. They came away with, man, we had that. We
Yeah.
could have flipped those series within probably, I would say, 6 outs in both series. And now players, I think, understand. And those are the moments you can't necessarily coach. You can just wrap the message up afterwards and say, like, look, guys, we were right there. So let's put that in your pocket, put all those good feelings in your pocket. And the ones where you were mad and pissed off about it,
Yeah.
let's remember those too. So
Well, I feel like it's been a while since I said this, but Mike Trude will have the call all weekend on the road
better
for
get
Saluki Radio. Yeah. But no, Trude obviously does a great job, and he'll be back with you guys this weekend for the Sunday doubleheader and then one game on Monday. Jen, appreciate the time. Safe travels to Terre Haute. Have a great Easter with the team, and
Yes.
we'll look forward to catching up with you next week.
thank you.
Once again, that was head coach Jen Sewell, and for our good buddy Mike Trude, who will have the calls this weekend in Terre Haute. I am Luke Martin saying so long, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Go Dogs.